All right.
Alright,
What are we doing here today, brother?
I gotta be honest. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. We got ourselves an audience of 1 to 1.5 people.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna
Actually,
be
I did launch the website tonight.
Did
You
you?
hadn't seen it.
Oh, I didn't even
You have
notice
to
it.
check it out.
I'm
That's
gonna.
actually really didn't do anything to it. I just said publish pretty much the way it is.
All right.
Yeah.
So, can we say you're welcome to the group?
Yeah. You're welcome, guys.
This is a big deal.
Yeah. DynamoJourney.com.
My Dynamo Journey.
MyDynamoJourney.com.
Not
Yes.
yours.
Yes.
Mine.
Yes.
All right. I'm not trying to
It's
be
all
possessive.
it's all about you
Or me, for that
or
matter.
him.
Because it's.
Yeah. So I'm the smart guy. He's going to tell the jokes.
Quite literally, that's beyond astute. But we're gonna do well. We're gonna do well. The whole purpose of this whole experiment that is this podcast / website is that Josh is going, in my mind, going to take me along the journey that is Dynamo that he has already, in my mind, mastered to some degree, and he's going to bring me along. Yeah, I love the high eyebrows. But you're gonna bring me along. You're gonna teach me. I know a little bit. I have a great foundation when it comes to Revit. But I'm excited to learn. I'm excited to find out more and how to best utilize Dynamo. Now that said, don't think that I haven't used it already. Because of Josh, he's given me some great scripts. I've been using them. This is kind of, I think maybe why he reached out to me to do it. Are you trying to find our faces?
I'm trying to make sure.
Oh. See this? By the way, it's a huge tangent, but totally relative. This is behind the scenes with Josh Moore and Justin Benjamin.
That's right.
We have yet to even say our names.
It is Tuesday night, and I'm
Tuesday
Josh Moore,
nights!
And this is just no, it's Monday night.
Shit! Crap! I am so dark.
Yeah,
Is there
we'll
like,
bleep that out.
do we have to worry about the radio things, do we? I can
think so.
swear.
Yeah, it's online.
This is gonna happen.
All right.
We're blowing up.
So
Let's do this.
we are going to go through our Dynamo Journey class
All
and
right.
kind of mess around a little bit while we're doing it. This is mock up / talk up. I don't know what that was. It just came out. So it's late in Vegas. It is 2 a.m. his time, 1 a.m. my time. So we're getting tired. This will be fun.
This is gonna be a good time.
All
Good
right,
time.
let's do it, JB.
All right. So I should so we're already sharing my screen. So I'm gonna go ahead and present this. We got our notes over there as well. To again be clear to those that are watching, this is just draft. This is us rather preparing for Thursday.
And you get to know us because we're just messing around, and we don't really have to be done in an hour and a half.
More to the point,
Well, we kind of do have to be done in an hour and a half, otherwise I'm going to pass out.
All right, and this is Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah. All right. So here we go.
All right. So 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Dynamo Journey. Welcome. It is an honor to be with you today. Automating simple solutions. You didn't like that, did you?
I loved it.
You loved it? Well, should I say it's an honor, or should I say we're privileged to be here with you today?
I think either one is going to play well.
Okay. So, by the way, it is an honor because this is both of our first times to present. We definitely are capable people, design app managers at Perkins & Will, but we're super excited to get to present at a big thing like Autodesk University. Yes, peace out. Yeah, you could do that.
I'm not going to do that. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will at this point also say my name is Justin Benjamin.
Yeah, and definitely tweet us.
Oh yeah, tweet.
Yeah.
I honestly, if you look at my tweet account or Twitter account, is it called Twitter?
I think it's a Twitter account.
Twitter account.
Yeah, you should use that.
To be clear, I've not yet participated with the tweeting that exists, but I am becoming hip to it. My little sister is that's belittling it. I'm already backpedaling. Yeah, tweet. I love it. I tweet all the time.
Tweet us. Yes.
At J Benjamin 1930, whatever that was.
Yes. And Josh Moore 2011.
Love this guy.
Okay. So, class
All right.
summary, we are going
All
to
right.
talk about visual programming in Dynamo, bridge everyday workflow gaps. We're going to do a brief overview of Dynamo. So let's just stop here for a second. All right. So our class, we made intentionally for kind of the whole gamut of people. So we're going to kind of start from the basics. We're going to work up to more advanced. So we're going to do a brief overview of Dynamo. We're going to talk about some of the packages that are available to you, specific examples that bridge workflow gaps in Revit. And then we're also going to talk about some tips and tricks when setting up Dynamo. So I'm going to skip this because it basically says all the same stuff that the other slide says, but the difference is that this is kind of what is in the requirements of Autodesk. Okay, so we are going to set the context here with understanding kind of what Dynamo is. What are you doing, Justin?
I'm trying to anticipate my
Oh, yeah, that's right. He needs to be able to read his notes before he can talk. So, no, it's all good. So we're reaching across each other.
That's good.
We're not hugging, okay? We're not
I
hugging.
love this man so much.
We're best pals. Okay, so we're going to set the context with Dynamo and related to computational design. And one of the biggest things that we kind of want to explain is, I guess the misnomer, if you will, that Dynamo is only for complex design, modeling,
complex
computational.
people. I think the problem with Dynamo is it's got the stigma about it that would suggest that if you don't know programming, or rather if you're not, it almost seems unnecessary when in fact it's going to become necessary whether we want it to be or not. Sure. In my mind, honestly, I do believe Dynamo is going to be as relevant as Revit within the next 5 years.
I think so too. And so what we're really trying to do here is trying to dumb it down a little bit for people. I mean, we know that architects are completely overwhelmed with all the things they have to remember. So what we're kind of trying to do is give you a gateway drug, like something that you can absolutely kind of get a hold of and see the value and realize the value of on lots of projects. And hopefully that gets you into Dynamo and gets you used to it. And then when you do have that opportunity once every now and again, once a year, whoever knows, depending on the firm you work in, maybe to do help out with a computational design project where you're actually doing form finding and some of the other advanced things, you'll have opportunities to do that.
All right. So listen, I've even left myself a note to go ahead and give you guys a moment to digest this cartoon. So go ahead and do it. Feel it. Absorb it. I'll hold. No, you can do it. No, we can't.
Music's good.
It is. I like it as well.
Yeah. Well, we're done now. They've seen it.
No. Wait. 3, 2. No, wait. 3. No, you know what? Let's go right to 1. No. All right. So sure enough, the cartoon. What does it mean? I'm pretty sure it's obvious. We got a couple of gentlemen trying to do a particular task, and in doing this task, they're making it rather complicated with the wheels that are made out of squares. We got wheels that are round, sitting in the basket. And sure enough, we say we don't have time to change the wheels. Push harder, Harry. We have a solution right in front of us. Though we could complete the task the way it is.
Can we do it better?
Can we? All we gotta do, look at one of the guys, and I'm pointing to my screen here. His hand is almost at the wheel. Do you see it?
Yeah.
He could grab it. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure about the grab. Really, that's what's up. Yeah. What a jerk.
I think the hardest thing about that a lot of people miss in like architecture, especially, is it's taking the time to stop. Right? Taking the time to stop and start over and do something else. And a lot of times we feel like we don't ever have time for that. And, and this cartoon's kind of a good example of how we don't have time. So don't get discouraged about learning Dynamo. What I always tell my staff is if you can talk to your project manager and say, hey, I could probably script this repetitive task that might take me 4 hours. I could probably script it in like 5 hours. So even if it took me 5 hours to script it, so I've still only taken an hour longer and still solved the problem. But now I have a script I can reuse for the next time on the next project. It's going to take another 4 hours, right? So we got to think about things that way.
By the way, if I might, before Josh jumps into the most impressive and awesome matrix analogy, the metaphor, I will say that even if you don't know Dynamo, that's not to suggest you can't utilize it. There are many scripts out there. In fact, the best way that I'm learning myself is to take existing scripts and break them apart, understand them. Try to to see the tool they're ultimately pushing, and then try to run it. And if it doesn't run seamlessly, we're going to explain later on in the presentation as to how to identify errors and remedy them. But that you can still use it. And in many ways, many of these scripts, especially what we're about to show today, at least the first one in my mind, at least will run seamlessly no matter what. You can still benefit from them. So don't be overwhelmed. Let's play this game. Let's do this.
Justin, did you see my Perkins and Will swag?
I hate you because
isn't that awesome? So look at that. So this is Perkins and Will, and that's where we're from. But we did change our brand from the green to the blue, so it is older.
Can I just say that I have no access to this swag?
Yeah.
I've wanted said swag for a bit of time.
Well, let's be honest, Justin. You did leave and come back, so I think that
He's speaking in reference to my sabbatical.
he took a sabbatical.
A 6-week sabbatical, and I went to a firm that, you know what, no pun intended, it firmed my opinion
Well done.
on Perkins and Will.
Well, yeah. This guy is punful.
All right, let's keep going.
Okay. We're good.
All right.
We're not crazy.
Promise. No. By the way, we're
come back, please.
In my mind, by the way, we're posting each tonight, tomorrow, and the night before. We're gonna post each one of them. We're gonna call them draft 1, draft 2, draft. You can watch all 3.
Yeah.
See
watch
how
all 3. Yeah, it may be fun.
Oh my God, it's like a trilogy.
Yeah.
Like the Matrix.
Yeah, like the Matrix.
Everybody we do.
Yes.
Best day of my life.
Yes. All right. Okay.
Oh,
might be being too loud. Will we get called by the neighbors?
You say this is the oldest freaking room out there. Part of me says the walls are as thick.
I'm at the end of the hotel, and I overlook the mechanical yard.
This is one of the finest suites. You see the artwork? I'm not sure if you can see this.
Yeah.
It's glorious. Oh my heavens. All right,
Okay.
Matrix.
So let's talk about the Matrix. All right. So what we wanted to do in terms of setting the context is kind of talk about programming and what it is. And I'm not a programmer. I don't have computer science background. Justin's not a programmer. He doesn't have computer science background. Most architects are not programmers and they don't have computer science background. So the way I like to try to explain it is by kind of relating it to things that we've probably all known or seen, as opposed to trying to tell you all the technical stuff, in a way that maybe you can't relate to. So the Matrix, you remember this scene where Neo starts seeing the Matrix, right? And you remember Morpheus earlier on in the movie, in the trilogy, told Neo that the Matrix was all around him. And so,
which pill?
Yeah, which pill do you want, the red or the blue pill?
I don't know which one. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
which one was it that moved you into the Matrix?
I don't remember. I think he took the blue pill, didn't he? I don't know.
This is critical, by the way.
Yeah, this is important information. Trust me. So he's gonna look it up while I talk.
Oh,
yes. Okay. We'll tell you. We'll get back to you in just a second.
I'm charging my phone.
That is a pop quiz. If you can get the answer to that faster than Justin, we will send you.
Oh, we're not doing anything.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, we're not doing anything. We don't have any money. We're already paying for this out of our pocket. So, okay. Sorry about that, guys. But maybe you can just say you're better than Justin if you can. Get
first of all, I can't multitask.
Okay, so I'm going to talk while he looks it up. So with programming, what we're really talking about is trying to understand how we can interpret a problem, if you will, and put it in the form that a computer can understand. So in terms of the Matrix, and you think about the Matrix, and they were in this world where it was just a big computer program, where you think about the way even your body works, even at the cellular level, it's processing information and taking that information and doing some tasks with it, right? And then spitting out some sort of result.
What is it?
What is it?
All right. I'd like to read you the quote out of the Matrix. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. The term red pill refers to the human is aware of the true nature of the Matrix. So again, I think that we're suggesting is that we want to take the red pill.
See, we got it.
Part of me says that it should be the green pill because of the constant green,
maybe on this slide we should put a blue pill or a red pill.
Yeah, I think that's.
And then circle the red pill or something.
We should ask them in the slide.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Yeah.
Don't circle it. You ask them. Inquire.
Yeah.
That's a good. You know what? We're gonna.
Yeah, we should do that. Yeah. So another term that we like to talk about is, or that we really need to talk about, is the term algorithm. So it's really important to kind of understand this term because it helps you, impress your boss when you can tell them, hey, I'm writing Dynamo algorithms, right? Because most of the time, algorithms, you think of that, I know when I first heard the word, I'm like, It's for like a geeky computer science guy. Like I don't even know what that means. It's like mystical unicorns in the sky, right?
When I was picking up my wife, I said the word algorithm, and it just only that word.
Yeah.
And that made me seem impressive enough to where she's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Like let me
I
be
married a genius.
So honestly, just use that word whenever you can.
Yeah.
What do you want for dinner tonight? An algorithm.
Okay.
Delicious.
So what we have here is you can see that this is the.
Sorry, I just realized how dumb I sound. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. Well.
We're good. I love this.
Yeah. So what we're doing here, we're sort of showing that talking about the Big Bang Theory. So probably most of you have seen the Big Bang Theory, and you know this is Sheldon, and he's a science guy. And basically, in this one episode of Big Bang Theory, Sheldon is trying to gain access to a university computer that his nemesis Kripke is kind of in ownership of. And so Sheldon decides to write an algorithm to determine how to become friends with Kripke so he can then have access to the computer. And as you can see on the screen, this is Sheldon's algorithm. And what do you think that looks like?
What do I think it looks like?
Yeah. You seen one of those before?
Oh, yeah. Oh, an algorithm. And, a mind map.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mind map or a process map. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. So I think.
Big fan of mind map.
Yeah, mind maps are great. So, I mean, I think that when you can explain it this way and help people understand that it's just a sort of series of, do this or do that kind of steps, if you will, it's a process, it really helps you understand. So, an algorithm, all in its most basic sense, is just taking inputs, processing that information, and then generating some sort of output.
There's a part of me that wants to actually put between this slide and the next one as a comic relief. There's that cartoon that says the wife is on one side of the table, please pass the salt, and then the husband's on the other side of the table, who's a programmer, and after 2, 3, 4 minutes, the wife is still like, the salt. I asked you to pass the salt. Where's the salt? And the husband's like, 1 second, I'm writing a program to automatically pass the salt to you, which both suggest the idea that we overcomplicate things, as well as gives a level of why not just pass the salt from time to time? Yeah. There's a comic relief.
Right.
I don't know that actually.
Yeah.
Benefits.
No, that's a good point. Like in this particular case, did Sheldon really need a process map to become friends with Kripke, right?
Well, in his case,
yeah, he may have.
Yeah,
but the average person probably just, actually talks to people and is.
I saw him, by the way, on Broadway Live.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Wow, that's cool.
He was really, really good.
Yeah.
I'd say the play he was in, but it was probably kind of offensive. Anyway, want to keep moving?
All right, yeah, let's keep going.
Core Dynamo. What is? This is all you.
Oh, I'm talking to this one.
Okay, I can do the next one.
You get to do the next one. All right.
So excited.
So this next section, we're going to talk about what we're calling Core Dynamo, and what we want to really talk about is sort of some of the baseline items in Dynamo to make sure we're all kind of speaking the same language, and also kind of break it down to kind of some simpler terms that you can relate to. So when we start talking about some of these terms, hopefully, our plan is Justin's going to try to relate them into Revit or in ways that hopefully you already understand.
All right, Justin Benjamin's turn to chat. Great to chat. I love to talk. I'm not very shy. Not sure if you picked up on that. All right, let me break this down for you. So, I'm in mildly serious for a second.
We need props. Like when I say string, I can pull out a string.
We could.
And then I could have numbers, almost like a kid's show.
Yeah.
That could work, right?
No.
No?
I mean, it could. I just don't want it to.
Okay.
All right, no.
We can make it adult show. But not too far adult.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, okay. So we went off track there.
All right, so let me talk about this. So let me just say, so when I read these types of data, the way that I had to relate them was, of course, to Revit, so I could really kind of understand them when Josh uses them as often as he does, which really makes these scripts happen. All right, so starting from the top, working down, I look at string and I quite literally I see it as text. All right, and when you hear the word string, you really should be thinking the word text. Okay, so that's I always go back and say when you're creating a new parameter, right? You have to identify whether it's text, whether it's number, whether it's integer, whether it's a yes, no, whatever it is, right? So think of string as saying, hey, look, I'm creating a new parameter, and it's text. All right. Now, when it comes to number and integer, that's pretty mathematically accurate, right? A number would suggest that it has decimals. All right. Do you need this new parameter, to have the ability to have decimals? All right. An integer would be a single digit, which would be just a 1, 2, 3, 4, not a 1.1, 1.2. Okay. So again, you've created a new parameter, and again, it's either one that has decimals, one that does not. All right. When he says booleans, all right. When he says booleans, think of a yes/no question. Right. I'm creating a parameter that would either be quite literally yes or no. All right. These are often I associate a lot of these to visibility parameters in Reddit, but either way, that's
like
what
the checkboxes, right?
It's a checkbox. Sorry, yeah. It's the checkbox. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Now that leads us right into nulls, and nulls is really the lack of data input. Is kind of how I'm phrasing this. All right. So let's go back to that boolean. All right. When you if you don't say yes or no to a yes no parameter, it's always grayed out and has that checkbox on it. Right. It's not saying it's yes. I'm not saying it's no. It's the lack of knowing which one I am, and that's what a null is. A null is saying, look, I'm not dumb. I'm waiting for you to inform me, right? Finally, when I look at lists, I literally look at lists as types of schedules. All right. So when he's listing data, he's basically taking data and he's sorting it. All right. And he uses lists quite a bit. He actually takes lists and he makes different lists out of that list, and he'll talk about that. But that's what this would suggest. All right. And finally, geometry. The thing that you need to know about geometry that sometimes I get confused is that yes, it's the literal graphical output, but it's also content that drives geometry. So points would be geometry as it's driving that content. So you're going to see that as we progress. But yeah, so geometry would be graphics is the literal output of Dynamo.
Yeah. And I would just add too, I mean, to a certain extent, we're intentionally oversimplifying this, right? I mean, we know that, and we know that going into it. We wanted to oversimplify. So there may be some of you out there watching this, and you're like, wow, from your computer science perspective, all the, nitty gritty of all these different things, and maybe our explanation wasn't perfect, but I think it will relate to a lot of architects who understand the Revit side of it, and that's really what we're going for, is trying to help people relate to that stuff. So, what we wanted to kind of do, and just so you know, we had some slides in here about like nulls and empty lists and different things like that. We had to elect to skip those for the main presentation. Those are covered in our handout. So if you want to check out our handout, which is awesome, by the way,
Glorious.
it's like lots of this, like 75 pages of this. So and it's really good. Lots of examples in there.
And I'm just going to really reiterate the fact that we layered in the examples, so many screenshots. I tried to personally add whatever tidbit of like kind of not necessarily comical output, but rather some type of relative knowledge.
Which you'll see some in the presentation here too in a minute.
So we just encourage you, please, out of all the handouts that you maybe pay attention to, I know that I've gone to AU for over 5-6 times. I'm not sure how many times. I look at only certain handouts, and I don't know what drives me from one to the other. I would just only really super duper encourage you to take a look at ours. We put a lot of effort into it. I really think that you're gonna really take a lot away. I personally see it hopefully as something of a manual or an index for you moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So we are going to cover a few basic items, though, sort of fundamental things that I find really important when dealing with Dynamo. And probably these kinds of things would be true no matter what you're doing in Dynamo, but definitely for the kind of everyday Dynamo exercises we're doing. One of them is converting data types. So, for example, the screenshot on the left, you can see that we've got a string from object node here, and we're actually converting this point, this actually geometry, to a string representation. So we have this text value here right now. And then what we can do with that is we can use a simple string.contains to see if it contains a value. Now, certainly there may be better ways to do that or more efficient ways to do that than converting it to text. But this is a really simple way for most people to understand how I can determine if a value exists in here without doing some sort of functions and all kinds of stuff like that. And then the one on the right.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, that's you.
Me. Back up off my right image.
See, this is why we're practicing, guys.
I love it.
Yes. And he'll probably do that to me in the class if I overstep my bounds. He'll just say, stop.
Well, big picture, I only have like 8 slides I can talk to. Everything else is so super duper smart. So I get super excited.
It's not true.
No.
Don't believe him.
Listen. Look, again, my effort to try to relate this to Revit. The image on the right is really the power of Dynamo. The most simplistic but most powerful element of Dynamo in my mind is that have you ever been in a schedule and you've ever tried to calculate totals of a string element? By string, I do mean text, right? I'm going to start using some Dynamo verbiage. Look at that. All right, so if you ever create a new parameter and you make it text, and then in the schedule you try to calculate it, it won't add up, right? Text can't add up with text. And so you say to yourself, man, I wish I made that text parameter a number or an integer or an area, whatever the heck you're looking for, type of parameter. I wish I did that. And the only way for you to really kind of change that parameter is to create a whole nother parameter, make an area parameter, and copy and paste or somehow translate that text or that data from one parameter to the other. That's not ideal by anybody's means, right? But then you got Dynamo. Dynamo's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm bilingual. let's play this game, all right?
I'm quadrilingual.
I'm a super duper lingual, all right? Super duper is like
I speak all the languages.
It's like think of a language and then like more. Yeah. Anyway, the point is, the image on the right-hand side, you're quite literally seeing a string, which is again a text parameter, converted to a number. That's in my mind. It's like, wow. You just relieved. You made it so that whether I create that parameter, whether a colleague, or whether another discipline created a parameter that was something I had to conform to, I'm able to use it and manipulate it the way I need to actually make it generate other types of data. So again, a Dynamo is not taking a string or text parameter and saying, hey, you're really a number. Make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And the only thing I would add to that too is on the top section of that, you notice you get a null value. So when we talked about nulls earlier, we did oversimplify a little bit to say that it's really just the kind of I don't know what I am, but and this is true in this case, but it's also kind of saying, hey, I don't understand how to multiply a number times a string, right? So that's why I'm getting a null value. Okay, so next we're going to kind of talk to managing data. So going back to lists and mostly list structure. So the biggest thing, probably the hardest thing that took me time to learn in Dynamo was understanding how to manage data. And a lot of times multiple streams of data that needs to match up in length and in the way the data structure is formatted such that when I pass in this stream and this stream at the very end to that last calculation node, everything lines up the way it's supposed to and it calculates right. So that way you don't end up with one room getting another room's values or whatever you're trying to do. You got to make sure that data is lined up. So on the left, you're seeing that we've got data sorted as a single list. Okay. And it's basically just a list, two levels, the list level and then the values level. And you can see that down here in Dynamo 1.2, we can actually see how many levels are in the list, L1 and L2. Over here, we've got three levels, and we've got what's called, what was kind of commonly called, or what I call a list of lists, which is going to be, the same data, but structured differently. So I have 0, 1, 2, 3, but now I've got 0 and 1 in its own list, and 2 and 3 in another list.
And when the way I kind of look at this again, I'm revatizing this a bit. But I look at this data like if I were to do a schedule that would look at rooms in Revit rather, all right, and I'm looking at departments. All right, let's go bigger. Let's go tenants, then departments, and then by room, right? So I got tenant A versus tenant B. Tenant A has HR, has IT, has architecture and interiors, and then to each one of these departments, they have their offices allocated to them, right? So in my mind, I look at this and saying one of them is sorting like a big hierarchy. Like look at the departments and there are the rooms as it relates to those departments. The other one is breaking it down first then by tenant, then by department. So really all I'm trying to say is that you're duplicating a schedule and you're sorting that data differently. It's the same data, but it's sorted differently. I think when I go live, I'll definitely make that shorter. I think just jumping right to the end there. I think that, but then again, we're working this out, right? I call this behind the scenes. Yes. This is the blooper reel. Yeah. This is the gag reel. This is
the blooper. And you know what's sad after AU? We're gonna if we want to keep doing these, we're gonna have to do them separated from one another.
Oh, you mean without
being in the same room?
So no, we're gonna make no. You say it like that, but we're gonna VR this shit. Stop.
Oh, let's do it. Yeah.
We're gonna VR ourselves.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be holographic in Washington D.C. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be amazing. And you guys, by the way,
you guys know how we're gonna do that. You didn't even know that technology exists, but it's gonna happen. Yes.
I mean, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Again. Yeah. Super excited.
Yeah. Just wait. It's gonna be great. Okay. So kind of moving into that, managing data and understanding calculation variations. So going back to the structures of the list, you can see on the top here in this first list, I have both of these lists, this one and then the list of lists down here. And what I have on the right is I have two code blocks, which we haven't really talked about a whole lot, but it just allows you to kind of do some different calculations in them. In this case, I'm just adding X and Y, and I'm feeding X and Y together. And you'll notice in this top one, I'm feeding this list and this list directly. And look what I get. I get a list of lists kind of like this. I get 0 and 1, which 0 makes sense. But if I add 1 and 1, that seems like that should be 2. And you kind of keep going down, and the math doesn't really seem like what I probably expected. So in this case, I introduced down here a flatten node. And all the flatten node is takes this structure and flattens the data back down to a single list. And you notice that when I do X plus Y in this list, I actually get the data I was expecting. Okay, so this is actually not quite up to date. Let me synchronize Justin's copy here. Hopefully it'll update. Where is it? Why isn't it updating? Let me synchronize my copy. Sorry guys, hold please.
You added quite a few slides.
Yeah, so what may have happened was I forgot to, I did that after I did the save as. Yeah, that's what happened. That's okay. So we just have a formatting issue. We can make it deal with it.
But did you add more? It looked like you added more slides.
Yeah, I did. I added a couple of minor slides, but that is so. How about we do this, Justin? How about I?
Interesting, because honestly, as much as I threw it away.
Yeah, he's throwing away my mouse, guys.
Listen, as he does this, I'm going to tell you a handful of jokes, okay? What do you call someone else's cheese? It's not your cheese.
Wow, that was a good one.
Why is 6 afraid of 7? 7, 8, 9, player.
I've heard that one before. That's a good one. You know what? My 6-year-old was telling me that the other day.
Are you guys familiar with this one? Do you see that my thumb appears to be away from my finger? Do you see that? So that's crazy, right? All right. Okay. Oh, yeah. What do you call this? What do you call it? I'll tell you what. I don't know either. But here comes another one. What do you call this? It's a flock of these. Okay.
All right. I think we're caught up. And lucky you, because yeah.
I got more. I'm not done yet. If you need me.
Okay. So we reset us here, but now we are back in business. So here is the slide that is updated.
Wait. So part of me says that. Do we skip those? Do we want to skip those slides?
These here? Yeah, we hit all these. Yeah, we hid those because they were. So these are the other ones that we have screenshots for in the handout, and so we're just running out of time. We ran out of time in our last couple mock-ups, so.
All right,
and we're definitely not doing this in an hour and a half because we're just kind of shooting the bull half the time. But
there's a part of me that says that here we go. On tomorrow night. Tonight we're just doing our first draft together, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow we go extreme. We do all of it, hidden slides and all.
Okay.
And we offer that. Look, there's the behind the scenes as BS in the first night. If you want to know what.
There's the whole thing with everything we want to do.
There's like 2.5 hours, it's 2.5 hours long.
Well, it may not be that long. I think it was only about an hour and 40 minutes. But yeah.
Point is that so I think tonight we do a watch. Like we might host this because again it's behind the scenes.
It's fun.
But I think tomorrow we do what we're doing right now. Maybe a little more serious, maybe a little more direct. All of it.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday night we do. In fact, tonight's just a draft. Part of me says we don't host this. Maybe we do. I don't know.
I think it'd be fun. I think this is our intro. And we just tell people go to dynamojourney.com, to get the behind the scenes of our class on Thursday.
So for that reason, we will host this. We will definitely host this. I think this is a good hello. It's a good introduction
to us,
our personalities.
Yes.
But I think constructively, I think tomorrow we do a nice long go through everything. On Wednesday night though, by the way, did you know that Wednesday night is the AU party?
I didn't know that. I'll probably not stay out late for that anyways.
So. Big picture. I won't drink at all. I honestly, here's my gift to you.
We're gonna be up super early that morning to make sure we're ready for the 8 a.m. class. We're gonna be ready for you.
We're gonna make this so constructive.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, my company sent me here as a co-speaker, not for anything else. And so if I were to mess this up, it would be very bad. So I will definitely. I give you my word.
He's not
even though that I do like to have a not really, but kind of.
We should tell them what we were gonna do. That we decided was probably a little over the top. That it would either crash and burn, or it would.
There's a part that says I can still sell it.
Okay, but hang on. But if we do it right now, we can tell them, and then they can at least get the vibe of it, right?
We do
it tomorrow.
We'll do it tomorrow.
We'll do it tomorrow.
All right, dude. Okay, so this is, if you're watching this, great. Hopefully this is mildly entertaining, given that also informative. But tomorrow's full Dynamo, what we wanted to do, but we had to cut a lot out. But honestly, it's such good data. It was really good. Like the screenshots that I'm already seeing hidden. Oh, it's so unfortunate we have to hide them. So by all means, do watch tomorrow. But what we will do for tomorrow, in addition to those hidden screenshots, is we're gonna do what we kind of scripted that I was gonna do. We're gonna do something of let's call this an SNL like bit. All right, I'm not gonna take any more than that. Let this be the feed.
Just make sure you watch tomorrow.
Tomorrow's gonna be fun. I will do. So if we do this though, I'm gonna have to come in.
We'll totally set it up. Maybe we should get buy some nice video cameras. Think we could do that?
We're gonna talk to our boss.
Autodesk has video cameras. Autodesk has video cameras. Let's get them in here. We could totally PR the heck out of this.
This could be huge, or it could be using this shitty camera, a crappy camera rather.
Yeah. We'll probably end up using the crappy camera. Let's be honest.
This is good.
But, so here's some process automation examples. Some of the things that we're going to talk about in the class are not on this list, but the items in blue, we are including some explanation and kind of a quick how-to in the handout, and we're including those items in blue as scripts that you can have as reference to kind of figure out what's available to you. So just to kind of go through these briefly, you can read obviously what's on there, but delete selected sheets and views on those sheets. So one of the big challenges that you've probably had in Revit is if you want to clean out a Revit file and you want to delete the sheets out. Well, what happens to the views when you delete the sheets out? They stay in the project browser. So then you have to go figure out which views were on which sheets and actually manually delete those out too. Well, with Dynamo, we can.
Delete all the sheets.
What?
Let's delete all the views and the sheets.
Because when you delete the sheets, the views stay in the.
So what I'm hearing is you want to delete those views.
Yeah, I want to delete. So if I say I want to delete the sheet, I want to delete the views on those sheets. What if I only want to delete 25 out of my 200 sheets? And those 25 sheets have a bunch of details on them. No, I would do it all the time. Like what we'll do is we'll be cleaning out files or cleaning out content in files, like old content that was made during SD or whatever, and we don't want that stuff to be in there.
Okay.
So, and in some cases, if you have a tool like, and you do want to delete everything, and you have a tool like the CTC project cleaner tool, and you want to delete everything, that works great. But what if you only want to delete, a handful, but you want to delete the views on those sheets? So.
And I can see the cool thing is that you have the opportunity to do this.
It's sort of just an example of what you can do in process automation. I've actually found it really useful because I can feed in a list of views that I want to delete, and Revit will the sheets, and then Revit will automatically query the views that are on those sheets and delete those also. And in that particular script, I also gave you a checkbox for whether or not you want to delete the legends out also, since legends can live on multiple sheets, right? Or you can say, no, I don't want to delete the legend out of the project, just delete the sheet. Same with schedules. The key plant setter is a huge one.
This is Totally. This is a big
Yeah,
one.
so
Big
those
one.
of you who have ever had to create key plans in Revit, the way we do them, the way I do them most commonly is put them in the title block. So you probably like map a little checkbox parameter, right? You can toggle on and off like area A and B and C and D or whatever. But realistically, most firms name their sheets according to that area. So you might have like A101A, A101B for those little blow up plans, and then you're just checking a box accordingly. So what the key plan setter does is with a little bit of logic that you can kind of set in the script. There's some settings for that. You can tell it what to look for in the sheet number, and then what parameter corresponds to that in the title block, and then it'll go through and check those boxes for you. It's really slick. And it'll also look for a certain keyword for like overall plans, and then it'll automatically check all the boxes for overall plans that should have all of those areas highlighted. And then it'll automatically ignore like detail sheets and stuff like that. So works pretty cool.
I want to take this one.
Yeah,
I
do
want
it.
to desperately take this
Do it.
one. This, okay, quite clearly, I push non-hosted other face-based families as it is at Perkins and Will. I'm pushing them very hard. We have 26 offices. I like to think that I've trickled into
He
both
pushes
of them.
hard.
I do. Now that said, I still have staff in my own office that still use hosted fixtures, and almost everybody that they start with hosted fixtures, and I know there is the rarity. They come to the condition which, golly gee, if only it were not hosted, whether it was face based, whether it's because they had to do a fake ceiling to do a hosted or whatever. I don't know what game they're playing, but the point is that Josh has a routine that will take rather replace, in fact, hosted light fixtures with face based ones. We know that we can't do this otherwise. You cannot take a hosted template and tell it to be face based. You can't do it. You just can't do it. You can't go vice versa. You can't go one way or the other. Point is, um, with this impossible task, Josh has gone ahead, created a routine, and honestly, he has explained it to me as to how it works. It's very, very cool. I won't elaborate right now, though I do really kind of want to. Um, just know that he has made it so that you can, in fact, replace ceiling hosted fixtures with face-based ones, and it's like that.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool.
So cool. So
Yeah,
freaking cool.
we've had this problem a lot where the another example of what Justin was saying was where sometimes staff just gets confused and they may not have any intent to use ceiling hosted, but at some point on the project they get this mishmash of crap, right?
And
And
download
then
something.
the rest of the staff is confused because they've got one family that works one way, another family that works another way. So consistency is important, and this script is just about helping maintain consistency when you have hundreds of these lights that somebody placed incorrectly. The next one is small. It's just sort of an example of a script that we wrote to solve this pretty specific problem, but nonetheless, it was able to save the team a ton of time because they were going to have to do this. So what had happened was a staff person went in and used the control enter trick in the room name parameter to force a line because they didn't like how the room tag was wrapping the text. And what was happening is in the room schedule, they were only seeing the first line of the text. They couldn't see the whole name. And this is like 1,000 rooms, right? Well, literally somebody went through and did this. So staff came to me and they were like, do you know of a better way than going in and just deleting them one by one? And I'm like, well, let me see. Let me look in Dynamo. So I actually wrote a script with Dynamo that looks for carriage returns, which is basically the control enter in the text, and basically deletes it, replaces it with a space. In about 20 seconds, it ripped through 1,000 rooms, removed the carriage returns where they existed, and it was done. Right? And the script took like probably 10 minutes to write.
That's case in point. Case in point. I didn't think about that. I didn't honestly. I think this is a new line that you added. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's fairly new. Yeah.
That's
So we did include that script, and that's just a really basic example of everyday Dynamo, right? It's I find myself constantly, even if it's not something that's going to be necessarily reused all the time, like that one. I mean, honestly, we may never reuse that script, but who knows? We might.
I think it's a foundation. It's a tool.
Yeah,
it's
just
done.
what can be done, and give you examples of the types of things that you can be solving on a daily basis in Dynamo. So the next one is kind of generic in the name, but it can be used for lots of different things, and I'll give you an example. So the name is push object level to parameter value. And by the way, we're not able to spend near this much time on the slide.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to figure out how to pare this down. But for this video, here you got some extras.
Can we remove that one?
Yeah, maybe so.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. But the only reason why I was including this because I already gave it to already put it in the package.
Let it be in the package.
That's fine. So anyway, push object level to parameter value. So a good example of this is like a really common example in architecture is when you're doing parking garages, especially parking on ramps. So Revit, it's really common for staff to come to you and say, hey, I want to get a parking count per level. Well, Revit doesn't do a good job of counting parking spaces on a ramp between levels. Especially, and also depending on the family that you use, there's oftentimes situations where, like if you're using a line-based family like the one that I've made for Perkins and Will, it just doesn't calculate by level. Another example of a problem with this is when you're wanting to schedule objects across links. So you know that you can't schedule the level when you schedule objects from linked models. So you can use a script like this to push the level name into like some other parameter value and then sort and group by that parameter value. So this could be for door schedules or whatever. Really good examples of things to do. You want to go through the rest of these or just call it quits after that?
Well, yeah.
So there's more on there, but.
And honestly, I definitely will talk to transfer project standards. I think one file to another, I do think that's
do it.
I will talk to her, but not for you right now. You'll find out tomorrow.
Okay, so we'll talk to that one tomorrow. Maybe what we'll do in tomorrow's is we'll just talk to the other ones we didn't talk to today. So
possibly. We don't know. You don't know either. All right. Why don't you back off?
All right.
Sorry, I was aggressive.
Yeah, he gets that way when he's tired. Sorry, guys.
All right. So I'll take the lead as far as explaining fundamentally what we're trying to convey in the next three kind of major categories. Let me back up a second.
So actually, Justin's going to do the most of the talking for the next probably 15 minutes or so, however long it takes him to talk, because we're not going to do the live demos right now. Because Justin's computer sucks and can't run Dynamo. And
look at the beast at his laptop. This is his laptop. Oh, there's a thing to this.
My laptop. My laptop's bigger than his laptop.
I don't even know what that means. All right, that's just. All right, the size doesn't matter.
Whoa. Okay.
It doesn't.
I don't know what y'all are thinking.
There was an innuendo. There was an innuendo.
There was no ill intention there.
Listen. All right.
So.
All
right, we need to get back on topic fast.
See if I can't transition.
Yeah, we got to transition.
All right. So okay. So there are no live. We're not gonna go live. But do know that there will be after every general explanation of these scripts. Josh is gonna go live and show them in action. So freaking cool. I'm loving it already. All right. So before I go really super into these scripts, do know it took us a lot to settle on these three. We would have loved to show you like 10 of them. Oh my god. Such good stuff. So we're progressively going from least complicated to the more complicated.
Wait, hang on a second. Are you gonna shave for Thursday?
No.
You're not? I was thinking about shaving.
Do you understand? This cost me $100.
What?
This haircut cost me $100.
Wow, you like the beard and everything?
No, he did a blend that makes it more controlled.
I see. I got you.
Because I can't grow hair.
Yeah.
You know, sorry.
Dude, mine looks like crap too.
I'll say crap too. I spent $100 on this.
Sorry, I really didn't know that was like totally not planned.
No, he blended. So I can't grow hair.
Get closer.
There.
I can't see it.
I can't.
See that?
I don't know if you can.
It's all like redneck.
I can't grow there.
It's like Joe Dirt.
It's like peach rose everywhere.
Like all.
So
you seen that movie, right, Joe Dirt?
I've seen like pieces of it, but it's so bad.
Have you seen that part where he's talking about his how he can't grow a certain way, like it grows in all redneck or whatever he says? I can't remember what he says. It's so funny.
All I'll say is that this guy, my barber does is he blends it so it looks like it's intentional.
Yeah. I think it looks
intentional. I'm done with you.
Okay.
All right.
Joe, I interrupted you.
We'll talk about that. But no,
I'm trying to give him examples of how people are getting interrupted in class.
I love it.
And stuff like that. You gotta be able to like totally play that off.
Oh God, with people, oh my heavens, I will.
Beautiful. How did you get like?
I'll say, listen, you keep talking, I'll tickle you.
Yeah.
You keep talking. Do you want to keep talking? I'll tickle you right now. All right, now okay, here we go. So the very first script, such a good one. Exporting views to Excel. Excel containing a category. This is more for your BIM or model managers. I'm not going to lie. We use this quite a bit, rather, as it relates to just general management of the firm-wide template and effort, trying to find out how many text styles or dimension styles are in a project or a template file. Sometimes you start a new project using a template that may have been a saved as version of an old project, and as a result, you have all these random dimension styles, random text styles, random whatever, and it's a matter of what do you use. I mean, you almost want to purge everything and just settle on 3 or 4. But the question is what are you using? What do you really need, and what should you be pushing or providing to your staff? So this particular tool, all it does is looks at. Let me actually even go back a step. For those really fundamental Dynamo users, you have to have a file opened up in Revit. Okay. When you have Revit opened up, you have a project file opened up, a template of project file. You would just merely launch Dynamo at that moment and then run this script. And when you launch Dynamo, you and rather open up, say, this file that is a script. You have a choice, as you can see right here. In this case, we're picking dimensions, and I want to see all the dimensions, styles, dimension text styles, or dimension type styles, rather. I'm not quite sure I'm using the right verbiage.
Yeah, that's right.
In the project. All right. Now, as you can see in the Excel file to the right, the screenshot, you see in a moment this information being pushed to the Excel. I'm going to show you kind of a cleaner version of this in a moment, so just hold on tight. All right, so this is the exact same script. All we did is where you saw dimension styles, we picked from that drop down, we said text notes, all right? And again, we pushed an Excel file. Now, yes, this is the automatic output that is Excel, but what we're going to suggest to you is go ahead and use the typical pivot table. Now, we could do this in Dynamo. All we're doing, though, is we're just using a basic or fundamental, very simple use of Dynamo script, and we're pushing data in Excel using what is, in some people's mindset, a more kind of commonly used skill set, say in Excel. All right, anyway, so we have pivot tables. So going from the left to the right, the first pivot table sorting by view, identifying what text styles are within each view. So we can see of all the views, all the project views that we have in our template, what text styles are used in those views. Now that data is nice to know, but not in my mind super constructive. Working to the right, now you see the dimension styles used in each view. I know that PW note 330 seconds is used in all of those views. In my mind, part of me says that this is a pretty usable, or often used, whether it be a textile, to where maybe I don't want to look to purchase. All right, but more to the point, the far right, we have a breakdown of each textile, including the count as to how often it's used in these views. No better way to understand which textiles or dimension styles or whatever are used only 1 or 2 times. If they're only used 1 or 2 times, pretty sure we can purge those styles. Pretty sure we can align those particular instances with a different or more commonly used text or dimension style. All right, so that's that one script. This one script, all it's doing is querying data. It's in my mind, really constructive. All right.
And I would add to the other value to this is that, a lot of you may think initially, well, why don't I just do select all instances in project and figure out, like where those live. But the reason why is because you can't get that in Legends. And so in Revit, he's hurting me.
You can't do it.
Yeah, you can't do it.
You just can't do it.
So this is going to tell
Scottish
you.
accent's coming out of it.
Yeah. So
We would Irish.
what's his name? Did everybody say you are? Gerard Butler?
So it's a very complimentary kind of thing to say. I think it's what Irish, and I guess Scottish.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep going.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm trying to. I was told, honestly, a guy out of our New York office. His name is Andrew Selvison. Does the best Scottish accent.
Oh yes, I heard it.
It is
I
so
heard
good.
it in Chattanooga, it is good.
Yes. I can't do it.
Okay,
but,
one of these days we'll get him on one of these calls because, by the way, if you want to talk Dynamo genius,
wow,
in programming, and ask him. Just send him, tweet him. I'll see if I can find his Twitter handle or something.
Okay, yeah, do it.
And we'll tweet him, or maybe we could spoof tweet him, like from a random account, like we can do it, and ask him what the term random means.
Oh,
ask him that.
That's like Googling Google, as far as I'm concerned.
So
that is like
it's great because he's like so smart about computers. Like, it's great.
That's Googling Google.
His explanation is fantastic. But anyway, back on topic. So another big value of this is finding those styles in legends that are there sometimes that would otherwise be kind of hard to find.
Boom.
All
Whoa.
right, so here's where we do the live demo, which we're not doing.
Well, why don't you just go back and walk through that?
Okay, so what we talked about these little graphics together so you kind of understand the workflow. So from left to right, we're starting in Revit, we're getting data out of Revit into Dynamo, and then we're going to pass that data from Dynamo to Excel. Is all we're doing, and you can see it's going to pass two types of data. It's going to pass a view name, and then an associated type name. So where the type name lives, and that's really all that's showing. All right.
So good, so good. All right. Oh my heavens. Oh my heavens. I was about to see if somebody texted me on my phone, but I'm done with that. I got this to talk to. All right.
I'm gonna see if somebody texted me on my phone. They did not. You know why? Because everybody I know is
Sleep.
right now.
Yeah. All right. Slab edit for to match topography. Okay. This is. Oh my god. Oh my heavens. I'm so sorry. I'm excited. All right. What is this doing? This is ultimately making a floor slab. All right. Let's think about a parking lot. Even though it's not exclusive to a parking lot, let's think about a parking lot. All right. You got a parking lot. You got topography. You got a site rather. And wouldn't it be great if that floor slab matched the contours of the site, which is pretty much what a typical parking lot's not. We're not talking about a garage. We're talking about a lot. All right. We're also talking, as far as I'm concerned, a road that's approaching the parking lot. We're talking about being able to not just use like this inherent Revit skill set of split surface or subregions or whatever it is that basically is clunky and not glorious. All right. We're talking about taking a floor slab and matching its slab to the topography that is in front of you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so this little thing here, again, another process diagram. So we're going to take, in Revit, we're going to feed Dynamo a floor object and a topo surface. We're going to do a little bit of geometry conversion, which we're not going to go over right now, but definitely going to be going over in class and also in the handout and all that good stuff. And Dynamo is going to do that work. In the process of doing that, it's also going to build a bunch of points. Basically defines the resolution and the location of the ultimately back in Revit, the modifying this floor with sub elements and creating those points.
Boom. What is that like in Dynamo? Let me tell you a little bit, all right? Let me talk to you. Let me reach out to you, the viewer. Oh my god, I'm excited.
Is he overdoing it?
Sometimes
Yeah.
I get exhausted myself.
Yeah.
It's really
He's
quite a
tired
bit.
right now.
All right. So working downwards. All right. So first of all, this is the common interface that Josh has set up to all of his scripts. Basically, kind of summing up on the left hand side, who built it, what's it about, and then on the right hand side, all the manual update or input rather, you as the user will have to kind of do. All right. And again, to be clear, it is 2 a.m. my time, and I'm going. So here we go. Working top down. All right, you're basically saying the more divisions, the more points, the longer it will take for the script to run, rather. What that's really meaning, and I'm going to give you a screenshot in a moment, how accurate on the inner body of, say, the road or the parking lot is. Do you want this thing to be? Think about it pixels as far as I'm concerned. All right, the more pixels, the more accurate. But in this case, the more pixels, you have to understand when you click run, it's gonna take a second, and by a second it can be a minute, depending on how many pixels you add to it. So you might be inclined to say, well, 100. Oh, let's do 2,000. That's aggressive, and you don't need to do that. 20 is plenty, and you're going to see that in a moment. All right. Working downwards, the edge point spacing. All that really means is that, let's just say that you work out the inner body of the road. Then you want to describe that of the outline of the road. All right. The thing that like borders, say, the curbs. How many points per line do you really want to acknowledge there? And again, I'm going to give you in a second. I'm going to give you an image for that. So just hold on tight. Okay. The next one is working downwards as the offset above the topo. This is super relevant when it comes to, like, say, the curve, when you want to actually jump from having the topo being flush, having the road being flush with the topo, and having a curb line jump up, say, 4 inches or so. That would then go to the curb that is a sidewalk, right? So you want to offset from that of the topo, all right? That's, you're saying how much you want to do there, all right? And finally, the last two things, after you identify the resolution, whether or not it's going to be offset or not, is really, you have to do one at a time. The first thing is select the model element. So in this case, you select the floor, okay? that would make up, say, the road, and then you'd select the topo that you want that floor to kind of comply or conform with. Okay. After you've done that, you would then select a curb, and the curb again, you'd run the same tool, and you run the curb on the same topo, and you'd see in a moment how that plays out. So what we're seeing here, as on the left-hand side, what you're seeing rather, is the floor slab and some curbs that are sitting offset from that of the topo. Now that's kind of an important deal. It's a pretty big deal, and we kind of touch upon how important that is later on. It's like a tips and tricks, but you don't want your slab kind of putting in to that of the topo. It's almost better to have the slab 500 feet above that of the topo than it all kind of intersecting with it. And that's just a tips and trick kind of thing. Okay. Point is that on the left hand side you got yourself a slab. You got some curbs that are also created via the slab. On the right hand side, you can see the number of divisions or the points. That's the first one that we had. That's the resolution. How many points do we want? I said it earlier. You could go 1,000. You could go 2,000. But again, you can see that that's not necessary. This is just 20 right there. So that's a good point. Good point. No pun intended. Then you have the edge point spacing. Again, that is the next question. How often do you want the dots on the outer boundary to happen? All right. So again, that would elaborate that kind of condition. All right. I say in the cloud here, after Dynamo is run, each floor object is done one by one. This might be able to be optimized. This might be able to be. Oh, as far as automating, okay, after this floor slab, then do the other, like be the curbs or whatever. That might be able to be optimized, but it's not necessarily right in front of us. Right now with the script that we're giving you, we're going to say first, select the slab, then select the topo, then select the curb, then select the topo, then select another curb, then select the topo. Not a big deal, super worth it. It's look at it. Look at it. The floor object is isolated. Oh my heavens. Is that not the most attractive thing you've ever seen in your entire life? I'm pretty sure it is. I can't hear you arguing with me. So let's just agree. All right. Can we agree? Can we agree? All right. See how angry you got? Now the only thing that we would also give you a little heads up on is that nobody likes those triangles that are on the actual slab, right? When you do this, when you make this modification, and do know what you're doing, by the way. All we're doing is selecting the floor slab and modifying and adding sub elements. All right. If you're not familiar with this, just like any floor slab you currently have, there's on the ribbons on the properties palette, not the properties palette. On the ribbons, you'll see a modify sub elements or add sub elements. Um, there it is. Look at that. Look at that. He's got a little screenshot. And you're just adding points and defining at each point how high or offset it is. All right. That's all you're doing. All right. But you don't want those triangles. And so I would highly encourage you to, in these 3D views or plan views, go to visibility graphics and uncheck rather interior edges from the floors option. Okay. That will make it so it looks a little more attractive. Like you can see there on the right hand side. Super sexy, super attractive. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna let you do the overview, and then I'm gonna do the overview.
Okay. All right. So you want me to do the overview of this one?
I could do the overview. Well, I gotta do the verbiage, but just do this.
Do this part.
I'll do you. I'm sorry, you do that part.
All right. So this last one is pretty cool. This is a workflow that I kind of started thinking I could potentially do in Dynamo, and kind of grew until I actually got something that is working pretty good. So we've provided again all of these scripts for you to have access to. They're pretty well documented in the script as well as in the handout. And we're going to go over live demo, and we're also going to provide you with the videos that I've done of all three of these scripts that literally walk you through the script even more in depth than we're going to be able to get to in class. So the process here, big picture.
Wait, this is so awkward.
What is that? Anyone in Harris Casino? I'm in Josh's room. Does that help? That's awkward. That's awkward.
Yeah, okay. To those that are viewing this, we have a Slack account that is with all of our coworkers, and we just had somebody post, "Is anyone in Harris Casino?" And we are in fact the Harris. We're at the Harris, be it one of the rooms. Anyway, I just said at 12 a.m. basically. No, I'm not in Harris Casino. Rather, I am in Josh's room. Does that help? If you can think about it, it does make it a little weird or special. Not suggesting one way or the other about anybody. I do love this man, by the way. I'd love to touch his face. Watch this. I'm not done. There's a little more. Okay, we're good. Anyway, so let's get. I digress.
Okay, so back to this. So pretty much what we have here is we're going to take some data out of Revit with Dynamo, and we're going to push it into an Excel file. And there's really two scripts happening here. There's
I
the
guess I
first
can
script
wait.
on the left. Yes. So
I guess I can
he's gonna do that to get all excited and pumped up for when he gets to talk about this in a second. So there's really two scripts: the script that's happening over here and the script that's happening over here. So the first script takes some data out of Revit, pushes it to Excel, and then the user will interact with. Which, by the way, this didn't get updated. I forgot to update it. So yeah.
Oh my God!
We'll update this, but yeah, it's in this other one.
This is
over
the
here.
worst day of my life.
So, but anyway, so the user is really here, and they're interacting with what Dynamo pushes out to Excel, and then they're also going to take some of that Excel information and put it into Revit. And then what's going to happen is the second script is going to read that data and that information that they put into Excel, or that Dynamo put into Excel, and that the user put into Revit, and it's going to read that and then update a bunch of stuff in Revit. So we're going to coordinate dummy view tags across link models, and he's going to break my bed. And
Can I dumb this down? What you just said, by the way.
do it.
So cool what you just said. Super exciting. What is he doing? Why do we want to do it? Let me tell you. And I appreciate your enthusiasm. Have you ever wanted to link details across Revit models? Have you ever wanted to reference a detail from one model to another Revit model? I know I have. I wanted to be louder. What's that? I know I have. That was better. Anyway, sorry, I'm delirious. It's like 2 a.m., 2:30 or 4.
It's 3 a.m. your time, brother.
Is it really?
Yeah.
All right.
2:55 your time.
So excited. What am I talking? Okay.
I love that you use upside down, brother.
You guys get it. Okay. So no, this is the ability to reference details from one Revit model to the other, and this is not heard of as far as Revit's concerned. Yes, there are tools out there that can kind of help this, but one, this is free. Two, this references multiple Revit models, not a single one, which is what the current tool out there does. By the way, I'm not going to even give it credence because, again, this tool is not limited to a single referencing of. I can't. It's not just I can. Let me say this differently. I'm not only able to reference one other model that has details. I'm able to reference as many models as I want, and this is a big deal. So again, when you look at other tools, to whatever they are, which again they do cost money, this tool does not, and this is not limited. It's a big freaking deal, all right? So why don't you calm down again? I love it.
The only other thing I would add, you went the wrong way, brother. The only other thing I would add to that too is that it's also customizable. So for you and your office, there's always a limited amount of customization that you can do with somebody else's tool. I mean, you can ask the developer to add stuff to it, and certainly they may do that. But Dynamo is great because it can be customized per project if needed, and that's I think a lot of the benefit to this also. So yeah,
Huge. All right, it's huge. Like Fusillo Auto Mall for anybody that's from upstate New York. If you have not, you know what? I'm just gonna keep going.
keep going. Yeah.
All right, so here's the first script. By the way, this is broken into two scripts. One script is pushing basically the data of every view in that project file into an Excel file. The other script is so after you push all that data to an Excel file, then all you're doing really is the user, going into this Excel file, finding a unique ID that relates to all the views that came from that project file, and you're linking it to some dummy tag that's in some other project file that you want to reference essentially to that original file. Meaning, if I want to, let's just say there are files A and file B. In file B, there are dummy tags that want to reference the details in file A. All you're doing is in file A, you're pushing this data to views, you're pushing all this view data to an Excel file. And so then what you're doing is you're going into the Excel file, you're finding those unique identifiers, you're copying that data, and you're pasting it into dummy tags in file B so that file B references to file A. And again, you're not limited to file A and B. You can be file A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So hold on tight. We're about to make this happen, all right? So in this very first interface, what are you doing? The very first question is basically saying, is this the first time you've run this script? That's really all it's saying, true or false. If it's the first time you run the script, you say true. All it does is copy an Excel file with a certain format so that it makes that data readable, a little more legible. It's not to suggest you need it. You can take the data that comes out of Revit into the raw data format and play that game. We just thought that maybe we want to make that a little more attractive, all right? So the very first question is saying, hey, look, if it's the first time you're running this, so you say yes. You're going to copy an Excel file that has a certain bit of formatting to it, And so that when you push that raw data outside of Excel, it links into it and it makes it read better. That's all that true or false means. All right, so every single time after the first time you run the script, you say false. It ain't my first time. Ain't my first rodeo. That's good. Hey, you're welcome.
Okay. There's a rodeo this
year. Is there?
Usually like the first week of December.
God, things I don't care about.
Yeah.
You
might have just offended some of our viewers, Justin.
No. If you guys like rodeos, I super am into it for you, but not literally for
probably
me.
Have like 2 people watching.
Yeah, it's a big deal. No, honestly, this is like 3 hours.
Tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends.
Yeah.
If you ever want to hear 2 guys ramble on Dynamo, yes. We're playing this game.
Yes.
This
is what you watch when you are a major Dynamo geek on a Friday night and you're drunk. This is what you watch.
You're welcome.
Yes.
We will become more and more concise.
2 of you that we have informed and entertained.
Yes, let's continue,
let's do 3 together. 1, 2, 3.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Excited. All right, let's keep going. All right.
We're almost done, by the way.
We're super close.
Actually, wait, no, we're not. We have tips and tricks.
That's fine.
We'll fly through that. Be all right.
Ish.
Another hour, we'll be done. Something like that.
3-4 hours, we're done. Yeah. 5, 7, 8 hours, we're done.
Yeah, it might be tomorrow, but
yeah, or next year. We're not 100% sure when this ends, but when it does, you'll want more. All right.
Did you just pun my last name?
Oh yeah, it's your last name. I didn't even know
you. He punned my last name.
His last name is.
And you know what? If it wasn't 3 a.m. his time, you would have known my last name.
It's 3 a.m. It's because I love you. Okay, here we go. Back on top.
Okay.
So
what's
we
the
have
next one down, Justin?
No,
what is path to Excel
stop.
file?
I'm doing it.
Oh,
that's aggressive.
Yeah.
I keep saying aggressive. That's become too much of a word.
Did you have any brothers or sisters?
3 sisters.
Did you hit them?
No, they hit me.
Oh, okay.
That's
probably why you hit other people, isn't it?
Damn it. All right. So the first question is it the first time you're playing this rodeo or not? The second question is basically, if it is your first time, where is the copy of the templated script? I'm sorry, said differently. That was way wrong. The second question is basically, where is the Excel file that has the formatting that you like? Where does that live? Because if it is the first time you're doing this, I want to copy that Excel file and use that as my base point moving forward. That's all it is. Okay? Let's move on. All right, the next question is basically, where do you want the raw data, Excel file, location file name. Okay, I'm sorry. I wanted to reread it. The first question is, where do you want to save the raw data file? And what that is, again, is basically when you push this content outside of your project, okay, it's going to come out kind of unflattering. It's not going to be so easily understood. The first Excel file, the very first, the question we just answered, it links to this and it reads it better, okay? So there's this raw data that comes out. The next question is the file name for that raw data, okay? So again, you're giving a name and a location for this raw data to come out of Excel, whereas this the first question basically says, okay, I'll read that raw data and make it look attractive, okay? And that the project specific to the next Excel files. Wait a second, I'm already lost.
Yeah, so the ending here, this bottom section is saying, where do I want to put the copy of the template? So I get the copy of the template, now I got to put it somewhere in there.
All right. So we're linking, the third part there is basically linking to the first Excel file. Say, okay, look, I made a copy of it. Where do you want it to go? And I will read that. I'll interpret that of the second question. That is the raw data. You follow me? I think you do. And again, here's the great news. Josh is going to go live. This crazy cat right here, he's going to go live eventually, just not right now. This is the raw data that comes right out of Excel. All right, I've given you little bullet points as to what that means, starting left to right. Hey, the sheet number, if placed in the sheet. The view, unique identifier. This, by the way, is the culmination of, this is a product really of the script. Josh is going to go into it, how it creates itself. That is the magic as far as I'm concerned, right? That is the magic. Everything else is just literal output of Revit. That's the magic. All right, so then the next thing is the view name, tell on sheet, sheet name, if placed on sheet. Again, everything but the view unique identifier should be common knowledge to you, okay? This, by the way, is the more attractive output. So again, This is the ew. This information is not easily read. Sorry. This is the ooh. I can better understand this. I can. This is look at you. Look, beautiful.
Look, we even have column headers.
No, you don't.
Yep.
No, you don't.
We did that.
No, you don't. Look at that.
You
Yes,
just
yes.
woke up all over me.
I don't give a shit about that. Crap. Sorry. I don't. You know what? You've heard me swear enough. All right. So this is the output. This is that template file we talked about. Beautiful, gorgeous. All right. So now this is where the user comes in. All right. The user says, "Okay, thank you for pushing this data outside of one file. I'm in another file that wants to reference a view in that original file. How do I do it? And how can I do it quickly? Because I got no time. I got a Chipotle appointment in 2 minutes. I got to go." That is often what I say to myself. That's all. That's the first thing I can know.
He often says the first thing that comes to his mind. I'll tell you that.
You
know what? I'm impressed at the battery life of your laptop. I just have to say that it's been on forever. Because we've been talking for a while.
Yeah, it's been going.
Yeah, it's been going. And you brought it in here with it was already like on.
Yeah.
Like I think it's like an all-day battery life. 6 hours. So yeah. So my laptop doesn't get 6 hours, so it's bigger than yours.
But you can't last as long.
Yeah, it cannot last as long.
So really, it's on you. Do you want the bigger but incapable of lasting, or the slight?
Okay, we gotta stop now on that. It's going.
It's
too
in
far down the gutter.
I'm saying, I'm not. First, I know what you're thinking. I'm talking.
We're just comparing laptops. That's really.
Exactly. I think that this makes sense to me. Woo! Here we go. All right. So again, with that in mind, all right. So you're gonna go ahead and you can open up this more legible Excel file. You're gonna Control F basically, and you're gonna look for a specific view name again of the original file. So again, I'm in File B, and I want to reference the exterior elevation, the south exterior elevation of File A. So again, I'm in File B. I want to reference the south exterior elevation of File A. So I would go to File A's output of the script. I'd Control F. I'd probably type in search exterior elevation south or whatever the view name was. It'd find it for me. I would then copy that view GUID that you're seeing there, and I would paste it. All right. Now I want you to focus on the right-hand side actually for a moment. All right. I'd select first of all the detail element, the dummy tag that I want to reference it, and I'd paste that GUID in the properties palette. You can see we've created a parameter. I'd paste it there. All right. So all I'm doing is for all my dummy tag references is I'm pasting this GUID that's coming from an Excel file that's being pushed from another Revit file. Now, before you think to yourself, "Oh my God, that seems like so much work," or first of all, that was loud. Nobody enjoyed it. I certainly did. Obnoxious, one might say.
Yes.
There's two things that you should consider. One is that this is doing something that cannot be done otherwise. Two, you typically would already, if you want to reference a dummy tag that references another view, you click dummy tag, or rather section tag, and you check the box to reference another view, and then you search from a drop down that's inside of Revit. All we're doing is asking go to Excel. All we're doing is saying, hey, look, instead of trying to filter through this long list of views that are in your project, go to this Excel file, same long list of views, you just copy a GUID from there. So why don't you just back off, you do that, and have a good day.
Aggressive.
Yeah, you're right. So you can see here on the left-hand side, what am I saying? A section reference made out of detailing. Section reference made out. Okay. So I'm just calling out two dummy tags, a dummy call-out tag that Josh was kind enough to make us. Josh was kind enough to make us. Josh, I want more of you all the time.
What's this one?
All right. You're pushing me. I love it. I need that structure.
Yeah.
This is the finale, folks. This is the finale. I don't know why I don't have the breakdown as to what these things do. That bothers me. I'll look into that. But basically, we're browsing. So this is all right. I'm gonna give you a different. I have it in my. I'll look it up. No big deal. I'll give you a pop-up that breaks down each one of these little elements here. But starting from the top to the bottom, basically we're browsing, and this is so cool, by the way. We're browsing to the folder that contains all the Excel files that could very well be output of your Revit file. So let's just say differently. Let's just say you have 10 project files. 10 files. It's not common to programs as well. I'm assuming it's not common to you, okay? 10 project files that have detail references in each one of them. Each project file has its own Excel push, okay? Not a big deal, right? So if you push each project file to its own Excel file, and then you point this file to that folder, when you run this script on a project, it will look at all of those Excel files to find those GUIDs, all right? And it will push the data into the GUID. So looking from the left to the right, you can see, first of all, the product of running the script is an Excel file that says, hey, look, this is what I did. Then you can see on the right-hand side, the other product is actually updating the content. Now, there are 3 conditions of this content updating, okay? The very first condition is a success. Heck yeah, look at this. The 1 B101. That means this section tags GUID found its reference into the corresponding file, and it populated 1 B101. That's freaking awesome. Good job. Well done. All right. The next one is the no match. All that means is that you put in a GUID that doesn't actually exist, or maybe you put a partial GUID in. Maybe you forgot to type in the last 2 characters. You didn't do a full, copy and paste. Maybe you delete the view that originally existed from the original project. I don't know. Point is, you put a GUID in this tag, and it can't find its home. So there's no match. The last one is, hey, look, you never typed a GUID at all. You never gave me somewhere to point to, so naturally I'm not going to populate. I would actually call this a null tag.
Could be a null tag.
Oh my God! I used
No.
because it doesn't have the information yet.
No. I feel null right
Oh my God, I'm so done. All right, this is the live demo of which we're not doing. Do it.
Tips and tricks. Yeah. He's out. Are you glad? Oh, he's back. Dang.
What's up?
So we're almost done here, guys. So I can't remember, Justin. Are you talking to this one or
I don't know.
Let's see. Oh, wait.
I think Josh.
Oh, I'm talking to this.
Yeah, you are, Josh.
So we're gonna go on a few tips and tricks. And unfortunately, we are gonna have to skip a couple of these as well for the main presentation. But we put a lot of this information in the handout. But we are going to skip a couple of the ones that we would like to cover otherwise, just so you know. So this script here is showing you several different errors. The first obvious error is the big red node that's there. And what's happening with that is anytime you see a red node, that commonly means that it's relying on an external package that you don't have access to.
An external package.
So, yeah, package. So you got to deliver that package to Dynamo. So that way it goes from mad to happy. Okay? Okay. Yeah, so it is late, and Justin
Is it my turn?
Not yet. I wasn't done.
Oh my God!
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Keep going.
I don't know how I can recover from that.
Okay.
Okay, this is amusing. Okay, so the yellow nodes there, those are like a bad date, okay? It's a bad date gone wrong. And so you pressed run and it started going. There was a problem. It did not. Whoa, I'm crying. Okay, so hopefully this is amusing for you. Because, yeah. It's late. So the yellow nodes basically mean that something errored out. There was an expectation. Okay, we just gotta move on. So something went wrong, basically.
Let's keep going. You get the idea.
Ooh, okay.
If only there were a catalyst like that. Never mind. Let's keep going. I don't know. The innuendos are going to make themselves apparent. Next tip and trick.
Like late night with the My Dynamo attorney guys.
It's just gonna.
Okay,
Woo!
we're gonna have
Yeah.
to have a.
This is we have to have like PG.
Yeah, we're gonna have to like rate something. Yeah.
This is PG-13.
Well, surely we don't have minors doing Dynamo. What if
These
like
days-
somebody's like with their kid, like just watching these guys be funny?
You're not
They're
gonna
like
get
into
it.
these parts.
No, first of all, I listen to Bill Burr all the time. And he says stuff that cross line. There's no PG.
You mean like the innuendo they put in like Aladdin?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're fine. We're fine.
Okay.
So manual versus automatic. This is when either try to make us.
Oh God.
I'm actually reaching. I'm
Okay.
reaching.
Yeah,
All right. No. So I'll keep it real. No, honestly. So this actually really is a big deal. If you don't have manual selected, it's going to constantly try to run the task that is live in your Dynamo. So as you're trying to flex the Dynamo script and potentially be learning what you're doing, if automatic selected, it's actually acting on the Revit file on the fly as you're doing it. It doesn't know not to. Unless you, of course, you say manual, which would then say, look, only when I say run, do you run? That's a pretty big deal, all right? So I've actually, let me say it differently. Josh has done a handful of Dynamo training classes at Perkins and Will. And unfortunately, when we have a group of like 7, 8, or 9, if automatic selected, as he's going through the routine, they're all doing the exact same thing at the exact same time, the exact same file sometimes, and it freaks it out. So don't do that.
That's a good point.
Run versus automatic, or rather manual versus automatic.
Okay, so kind of along those same lines about testing things out. One of the things that I've found and spent hours trying to figure out why a script isn't working, and it turns out all my logic was right, everything was right, but if I just closed Dynamo or closed the script and reopened, it would have been totally fine. So this is really important when you're testing. So a typical process example I'll go through when I'm trying to build a script is, say I get to a point I'm ready to run the script, and in some cases the script may or may not actually do anything in Revit. It may just do something in Dynamo, but in either case, especially if it's doing something in Revit, a really common thing I may want to do is undo that Dynamo transaction in Revit, so that way whatever things have happened are no longer happen, so I can continue testing. But if you don't close the script and reopen, sometimes Dynamo will still think those things are done in Revit, even though you undid them on the Revit side of it. So it's sort of like flushing that out and letting Dynamo kind of reset itself and see what's actually in the Revit file. This is a really common kind of testing procedure I go through, and I repeat that process over and over again until my logic is right and I'm happy with the script.
This is an obvious one, guys. Obvious. You just should. If you don't realize it. You can't be in an active command in Revit. All right, that means you can't have. I'm dropping a door. All right, in the middle of activating this door command. I'm in the Dynamo routine. It ain't gonna roll. It ain't gonna play. Pretty quick and easy to say. So just a couple of escapes. I'll get you out of it. Thank you for the accent, excellent. I assume you mean excellent accent.
Yeah. So another one that's pretty obvious as well, but that you need to be paying attention to is making sure that you're paying attention to the active view that you're in. So certain scripts will rely on the active view that you're in to perform whatever task it is. And the other thing that's important, that's kind of related to this, is I found that for whatever reason, it seems like Dynamo should run on like sort of the current window or file that's up. But I found that if I open multiple models in the same Revit session, Dynamo sometimes gets confused. And I think also it's just, safer to, if you're going to be running Dynamo on files, there's a lot of power there, and you can really mess something up if you run Dynamo unintentionally on the wrong file. So we recommend just in general keeping one Revit model open in whatever session of Revit that you're in.
Doy.
So this next one here,
You skipped ahead.
What?
Oh.
What's going on?
Yeah, went ahead and hit a couple of them. Well, you hit them, brother.
Huh?
Yeah, hit a handful of them. Yeah, jump. Like this is hidden. No, that's not hidden. This is hidden.
So save often is hidden.
Wait,
Yeah.
not obvious.
So that one's
That's
hidden.
you. Then this would be me. See if oh yeah, that's that one.
That's hidden.
This is hidden.
Yeah. Go back to the next one.
We agree, you know what? We don't need it, right? Because it's obvious. Synchronize before Revit. The
That's
backup.
hidden. That's the
Right. Which is why I think we agree that it
Use
should
out
be.
of the box notes. That's where I was at.
My apologies. I was looking at this.
Yeah, I think we were.
I was nervous. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so now that I was so rudely interrupted,
Oh.
let's continue on.
Oh.
Okay, so the biggest thing here that we want to kind of say, first of all, is that, and as you'll see in a minute, we love what developers are doing with Dynamo. We love the fact that it's open source and people are contributing to this effort. But one of the challenges that you have with relying on all the stuff the developers are doing is that there's all kinds of things that can just happen. Issues can happen when there's updates made. Everybody makes mistakes. I mean, just like in Revit or any other application, you'll find even bugs in that. But these guys, a lot of them are just contributing this stuff on their own time. They don't have you know tons of man hours of automation, bug finding, and all the things that all these people do. So it's totally understandable that sometimes stuff just gets broken. So one of the things that we highly recommend is that use out of the box nodes as much as you can, and in some cases you may even if the third party node is like a shortcut, I would suggest that maybe you still go ahead and use the 3 or 4 or however many out of the box nodes it might take to put that stuff together, because in general you're just going to have a little bit better experience with the out of the box nodes. You're not going to have to worry about when the developer updates something or pointing to the right packages as often, and things like that, especially when you're talking about reusing.
You always want to point to that package.
Yes, you do. And then another example, I got it. Trying not to laugh so hard.
Do you get it?
Yes, I get it.
Do you get it?
I do get it. Okay. So, so the last item on there is about Python script. So, some of these some of these scripts, or some of these third-party packages, rather, some of the simpler ones are really just embedded Python scripts. And in a lot of cases, it can be really helpful, especially when you're testing, and also to ensure that maybe the dependencies aren't required for reuse. If you were to send the script to somebody or have somebody else use it, you could actually embed their script directly in a Python node inside of the Dynamo
for life
script. So makes it a lot easier to, and also you get better error messages when you do that. And that's a tip that I found out from Conrad on Archie Lab. So you get better error messages to figure out what's going on if something is failing.
Tips are good.
Is that you? Oh, that's me still. Okay, so on this one of the things that we just wanted to tell everybody, script versioning was something that I really didn't think about when I first started learning Dynamo. So take things one chunk at a time. I mean, you may not get into Dynamo and immediately start versioning your scripts, but as you start to get a library built up of them, and as people are asking you for changes and edits, and you're updating for versions of Dynamo and things that happen like that, you really need a way to start understanding what's what. And so we're just providing a really basic example of how you could version it, just with the name, little V at the end. This is what I do.
Beginning, V at the beginning.
Or V at the beginning, but the end,
Duh.
the end of this, at the end of the name there.
Yeah, but V at the beginning of the end.
Yeah. And so what we're doing in red there is just putting the Dynamo version, and then at the end just incrementing updates or fixes or whatever. So if you initially upgrade, you open your Dynamo script that you wrote in version 1 in 1.2, and maybe there's a few things you got to like fix. Maybe the out of the box node changed, or maybe you're optimizing it somehow or whatever. You'll update the Dynamo version of 1.2, and then maybe during that version, you've also opened that script. He's still got his mind in the gutter, I'm confident. I don't even know what I said, but let's keep going. So so as you open that script, you may be adding features or things like that, or fixing other things that you notice being problems, and you may want to increment that so kind of what's what, and so staff can also know that as well. Feel better?
Sorry.
Okay. So another one, this is a really big one, probably one of the most important ones that we can tell you, at least that I've found, for reusability of scripts. If I want to share my script with my staff or with Justin or anybody else,
JB.
it's really important, especially if I'm relying on several different third-party packages, uh, to make a shared library for those packages. So a good example of how that's important is, again, going back to the slide before about how sometimes when new features or changes are made to third-party packages, you don't want your staff downloading those packages, because if they do, they may download a version that's newer than the one you tested the script with. So when we're talking about reusability, we found that somebody managing that, especially the folks that are writing the scripts, managing that location, so that way they know for sure that the packages people are pointing to are the ones that are working with what they wrote. And then also sometimes Revit and Dynamo changes can cause problems. So when Revit gets upgraded or Dynamo gets upgraded, um, those kinds of things can cause the third-party developers to have to make script changes and things like that. So it's really useful to make that shared library again, so that way you can kind of control which packages are used. So here's a couple examples of what you can do. Just a simple map drive location, Dynamo packages with the Dynamo version. So we always have kind of create a folder for that version and put the packages that we know are compatible with that version. And that's another thing just that I've learned over time, is that sometimes package gets updated for a newer version, and maybe like at a firm like Perkins and Will, we may not immediately roll out the new version to all the staff. So you don't want, Justin, your staff or anybody else downloading an updated version of package, Clockwork or whatever it is, if it's been updated for a version of Dynamo that you're not running. Okay. And then we're almost done. This one here is that one you, buddy?
I think it is, because
It sure is. Yes.
So to be quite clear, why I'm especially speaking to this is that Josh is so good at organizing his scripts, so very good, and that I was able to read the scripts along with some audio commentary from himself as to what's happening. All the screenshots that you're seeing in the handouts, a lot of them rather, are from me and my what I attempted to interpret as to what Josh is doing whilst he's doing it, like as far as the story goes. And I was able to do it not only through his auditory help, but also through what you see here as far as color coding his scripts. My biggest kind of things that I identified were really the design, input, and output, and control to some degree. But the color design said to me, hey, look, this is functioning. This is behind the scenes kind of thing. Whereas the input said, hey, look, you have to do something. This is where your project specific effort is happening. And the output is, hey, look, this is the action I'm performing. Everything else is certainly super important, but it's because of this color coding of the scripts that I was able to really understand this language. So whether it's this conformity or not, you really would it would behoove you and your team to really understand, have some type of template. All right, and he has this, by the way, in all of his scripts. When you open up a script, you see this kind of sitting on top of his scripts. Hey, look, I this is what I've used to kind of format.
Yeah, and that's usually like one of the last things I do. And that's kind of getting it ready for the reusability, right? Sort of saying, this is kind of ready for prime time. To be honest with you, I don't recall if all the additional scripts that I provided with the class that we didn't demo or go over, that I've completed all of that, but I definitely at least tried to comment the script and put the information in there about how to use it, whether it's color coded or not. I don't recall if I did all that or not.
So that's the lack of this part. All right.
Yeah,
oh
so
my God! Third-party packages, top 5 roundup.
Okay,
from
so we wanted to end with this part, and I'm going to let Justin MC it because, as you can see, he is full of energy. And I guess, sort of just a shout out to the folks that we thought, are really helping the Dynamo community. And one of the things in the handout that you'll notice that we didn't put in the PowerPoint here, we just don't have time to talk to it, but we broke out kind of the most used nodes from the third-party packages and core Dynamo nodes for all the scripts that for like almost 100 scripts that I've written, and then also broke it down at the end. There's like a glossary of nodes that tell you which script they're used in of the scripts that we're providing to you. So if you need some context to understand how to use a certain node that we've used, you can go to that glossary at the end of the handout. You can find that node that by name and then figure out what scripts it lives in, so you can go into those scripts and see how they're used in context. So with that, I'm going to throw it over to Justin. He's going to go through this top
Throw
5.
the ball.
Is it hot?
That's not hot. It's a comfortable condition.
Okay.
It's comfortable. I got it. I'm hold it to my breast.
Are you nursing?
No.
Okay.
Let's keep it going. Oh, wrong
Wrong
direction.
way.
Really wrong
So
direction.
number 5.
I got it. I don't need your help.
Okay.
God, this guy
You guys
right
don't
here.
want me to talk.
Listen, no, you can. All right, Dimitar Vankov. All right, I just totally think I did your name okay, Dimitar Vankov. All right, I feel like it's aggressive, even though you have a very kind face. I feel like there's a lot going for you. Listen, to everybody, let me take a second before I even see this. In fact, I'm gonna go back a moment and say, look, everybody, look to your left. Everybody, look to your right. I want you to register those faces. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them right now. I want you to soak it in. All right? It seems awkward, but you need to do this. All right? As I move forward, I want you guys to know who you're sitting next to. Because my fear is when I call their name, and if they're in this room, they're going to be too shy to take a bow. So it's on you to either look at them, give them a nod that says, well done, or maybe even give it a hey, get up there. Come on, stand up. Anything like that, okay? So here we go. Dimitar Vankov. All right, my man.
Sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Spring nodes, a huge deal. Installed 8,600 times. That's 8,600 times 1. 8,600 times 1. Oh my God. That's 2 times 4,300.
Yeah.
2 times.
That works.
All right. Now,
600 times 1.
that said, Perkins and Will use specifically element type dot duplicate more often than not. All right. So thank you so very much. You, my friend, you've done a favor to many people. All right. 8,600 people to be exact, minimum. All right. Julien Benoit, Julien, huh? I got the French accent that's probably more mocking than it is complimentary. But at the same time, I feel inclined to say thank you very much. All right, the steam nodes. All right, they don't just produce steam; they are quite productive. How do you say, huh? Sorry, I apologize. 9,000 installs. That's 2 times 4,500. All right, that's 3 times 3,000. All right, 9,000 times. However you want to work it out. All right, Julian. However you want to work it out. All right, you and those glasses. You need to know very straight up. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. We at Perkins will use tool.eraser more so than anything else. Wow, you're amazing. Wow. Again, look to your right. Give this guy a hug. Hold him tight. 45 seconds. It's okay. It's not weird. All right, moving on. Nathan Miller, my man. My man Nate. Do you mind if I call you Nate? I assume so. All right, Nate. Thank you so much. All right, lunchbox. I'm pretty sure we all know about it. Why not dinner box, by the way? I'm kidding. I get a lunchbox. We all got that with us because it's it's a necessity, is it not? Which is why you are number 3. 35,000 installs. That's 7 times 6. Oh no, it ain't. That's 42, bro. Listen, you got the math. I think in your mind. All right. I love your
There's a
haircut.
reason why you got 35,000 installs. You know your math.
Yeah. Oh.
Thank you, Nate.
Oh, look at this guy. All right. All right. Lunchbox level element collector. That was our most popular. All right. So you and that smile, you keep that up, brother. I don't mean to make it weird, by the way, but I keep complimenting their smile. Oh my God. Let's keep going. Conrad K. Saban. First of all, I feel like I don't want to mess with you. It's like you got something to say about my scripts. You got something to say about this? No, I don't. Your packages are amazing.
Okay.
So
Hopefully we don't crack up like this in the room.
no, we'll do well.
Great packages, buddy.
Their packages, 23,000
Yeah.
installs.
Seriously,
23,000.
So helpful.
This guy right here, he knows what's up. All right. I need some more enthusiasm out of your picture, by the way. A little more enthusiasm. All right. Get all views was our most used one. All right, my man. All right. All right. First of all, I'm pretty sure we knew this was coming like clockwork. You get it? Do you get it? My man, he knows what's up. He knew when he took this picture that he was the Shadazzle. This man made it happen. Andreas. One day you'll have to pronounce your last name for me, as I don't think I can do it aloud. All right, that'll take my PG little podcast, make it R-rated, if you know what I mean. Bump it. Bump it. I don't see you. Boom. That's what's up. That's what's up. 10 most used nodes, all of those. All right, you keep it up. 26,700 installs. My man. My man. All right.
You got to say about this?
Oh, well, this I think I'm talking a little bit to this. I think I was going to finish with it, if I recall. Josh, to preface.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I'll talk for a second. So we thought it'd be fun, and you were kind of seeing the result of that tonight, although it's been about 2.5 hours.
Oh, my God.
And I doubt most of you are still watching, but maybe it was funny enough along the way where some of you watched to the end. So we're going to introduce this website at AU, and we are really not ready, but we're going to do it anyways. Hopefully, we'll be able to get one of these postings up by the time our class on Thursday. We're going to introduce this, and we really want to just sort of start dialoguing about Dynamo. Maybe even provide opportunity for some of you to provide comments, maybe some periodic blog posts from either one of us about some of our experiences, day-to-day experiences with using Dynamo or whatever, and just kind of really talk about it as a journey. Because I think at the end of the day, our goal is to raise awareness for sort of more than just you know the the folks that are often looked to as the the computer geeky guys that know how to do computational design, but that we can expose this on a broader level, you know, on a process level, process automation level. So
And I'm only adding to it. Look, I know I bring a bit of comic relief, maybe more so than I need to. Josh could do it himself, to be honest. And I really do just appreciate him involving me in all this. Thank you very much, Josh. I'm excited. I think that this is good. I think that we can hopefully have a conversation about Dynamo. We hopefully can spark some enthusiasm for some of the newbies, myself one of them. And as much as it's my Dynamo journey, when I say my Dynamo journey, I'm not to be selfish. It's really going to be hopefully mine Dynamo journey. Keep up with me. Play along this. Play with me so that we can all kind of evolve together. And this
all
could
of
be,
our Dynamo.
and really, so we're gonna go together. We're gonna learn together. We're gonna have fun. We will ultimately, hopefully, be encouraging posts. Like we're gonna do, hopefully, every week we do some type of, or every couple of weeks we do some type of podcast and get this site moving.
Maybe we'll have some guests. Guests,
Oh my
maybe
God, that's right, Andrew
guest
Selvison.
people, Andrew, or maybe we'll get some of the developers to come on and talk about their packages sometime, or
You want to hear about their
or
packages?
some guest bloggers or something like that. But just a place where we can start aggregating some of this information. Certainly, there are other websites that are great. DynamoBIM.org, fantastic. I get a lot of information from there. Really good following already. But we just thought of a way we can add to the community in kind of a really down to earth way, and hopefully you guys will like it.
Yeah, begin to the end. Or the end to the beginning. Nope, you're the end. No, who's the beginning?
It's got to be your goal.
Tommy boy.
Yes.
Tommy boy, I love it.
He just about pushed me out the window. Okay, and that's all fluff.
All right,
and there's
dude.
Autodesk. And
What
look
if
at that.
we didn't?
We're done.
What if we didn't record any of this?
Oh, we're recording. Look, it wasn't even 2 hours.